On the Isle, survival is not just a moment. It is a lifetime of battles and chance encounters, a relentless cycle of enduring through fate's worst. We walked among the apex predators of this world as one of them, a towering carnivore built for bleeding out its prey, the Allosaurus. But before we could ever shake the world with our presence, first we needed to survive through the trials and tribulations of our youth. It was a dark and stormy night when we first opened our eyes to the world. Our first meal was the rotting carcass of a boar, left to decay by its predator, but at least we managed to find a first meal in this misty abyss. We would travel along the coastline towards the southern swamps when the sight of a juvenile tyrannosaur caught our attention, running across the beach's sands. Thankfully, he didn't see us, or he'd decided it was too risky to engage with us. We disappeared into the thicker foliage after the scare and managed to find a boar in the thick of it. For such a small creature, this mighty beast presented quite the challenge. And I just died to a boar. In a twist of fate, the hunter's body fell limp among the trees after tasting vicious defeat. We brushed ourselves off and respawned among the isle's inhabitants. Our second life, it wasn't looking much better than the first. We were hunting a deer along an isolated dirt path somewhere north of the river delta when the thunderous stomps in the distance caught our attention. We recognized them immediately as a pair of Allosaurus and attempted a friendly call to them. One of them even spoke out to us. Thinking maybe they didn't know the cause, we tried to speak with them as well. But we should have known better than to trust a stranger on the Isle. And so too was our fate sealed. What can you do when you're betrayed by your own species for sport, but to brush it off and try once more? Third time's the charm, they say. We found ourselves south of the Delta River, nearby the coastal beaches. We followed the scent of carcass down onto the sands, hoping to find an easy meal. But what we found was much, much more than that. A large stegosaurus being hunted down by two young rexes who now had a much easier meal option presented to them. We finally opened our eyes once again on the southern coast, where the swamp meets the Delta River. And this time, our friend Goji was waiting for us, with a meal in hand no less. We could finally relax a little and enjoy our time growing up among friends. We even spotted a saltwater croc, meandering across the beaches, whose organs would provide us with a perfect diet, making reaching our prime adult stage an absolute breeze. We couldn't have asked for a more perfect start to our lives.
Oh, Hera! And I'm dead.
In the blink of an eye, our paradise was ripped apart. Hera seized a glorious opportunity and snagged himself an easy meal, while Goji's back was turned for but a moment. Now we were alone again, as far south on the island as we could be, chasing a vicious boar that could kill us in 2 swift strikes of his mighty tusks, if he but turned around and charged at us. We needed to take our time, slowly whittle down the beast, working away at his thick hide, bite after bite. We also needed to keep him herded down onto the beach to give us the best possible opportunity to kill him. If we let him escape into the woods, we would lose our vision advantage and surely succumb to our mistakes. We battled with the boar for ages, or at least what felt like ages. The hours ticked by, but still our battle raged on.
Oh, I finally won. Yes.
Finally, the boar fell into the sands, and victory was ours. After a hunt that lasted well into the night, we could finally take a deep breath and could relax along the shoreline. Here we had easy access to gastrolus, which would speed up our digestion when consumed, so we could jam-pack ourselves full of their delicious nutrients. But our peace here wouldn't last, and soon we spotted someone new coming down onto our shores.
Ooh, T-Rex maybe, or Carno? Little baby. Let's go have some baby wars. I'm about to die.
We exchanged fatal blows, our claw swipe slashing through him for a tremendous bite that nearly killed us.
I actually bled him out. Holy crap, what the heck?
But it all proved worth it when the Carno fell limp suddenly across our crimson-covered stage. While the moonlight's silver gaze danced back across the crashing waves, we were now blessed with more food than we could possibly consume. The organs of the Carno would provide us a perfect diet, and the gastrolus would make sure we could properly enjoy our meal and take our fill before it all rotted away. As a passing storm began to pour across the area, we turned our head to find a stampede of compies being followed by a rather sizable galley, who didn't take notice of us amongst the rocks. We managed to land a powerful claw slash on the unexpected galley, causing a serious laceration. If we could keep up the pressure, it would be another easy meal for our young Allo. However, the galley was able to easily lose us over the difficult terrain and disappeared into the forest. Even though we had his tracks, the storm and the darkness would make it nearly impossible to trace him, and we would likely never see that galley again, dead or alive.
Dang, this storm. I can't track the galley I was chasing. He got away from me.
Our life on the beach was enjoyable, pleasant views and plentiful food to go around. But the problem was the smell. The scent of carcass was now wafting out across the isle, attracting any and all who might have a hankering for some meat.
Oh, that's a big boy. That looks like a rather sizable Rex that was just chasing me. Oh, he's got a friend. Okay, all my food is gonna get eaten. That's unfortunate. At least I'm not getting eaten today.
With the arrival of our two largemouth guests, we deemed it unsafe to return to our shores. We laid low in the woodlands just off the crest of the beach and hunted the local deer for an easy snack, now that we were large enough to pin them down. When the beach appeared clear again, we returned down to the waters and took a path that we've taken 1,000 times before, but as a Troodon.
I may have made a mistake trying to swim across this.
For our much larger, less aquatic-friendly Allo, the distance to the next shore felt almost impossible. We used up more than half of our stamina just to make it to the sandbar. We felt there was no possible way to survive the next crossing, which was twice as far of a swim to the next shoreline. So after we regained our stamina, we turned back, forced into a humble retreat, in the beginning of a very long journey ahead. There along the new beach, we met up with our first pack mate for the night, Ambar. And soon after, Dire K would join up with us as well. As a mighty pack of Allos, we began our very long journey to the center of the map, eating the random assortment of AI carcass that we found along the way. We eventually ended up in the highlands, getting a much-needed drink from the crystal blue rainwaters that pooled there along the mountain's base, and even found a delicious snack to get Dire the nutrients he needed for his perfect diet. With all of our prime needs met and the weight of our age finally showing, we were ready to make a name for ourselves in the wild. We followed the calls of a wild Rex to the west rails, where we saw him fade away into the distant horizon of trees. We decided to split up from the group. They would follow in his immediate path, and we would cut off to the side of the mountain, just in case he was heading for the beach. We'd be able to cut him off in that case and trap him in a pincer attack. But Amber ended up catching the fleeing beast in the woods alone, and the call for our hunt to begin roared out from the canopy of the trees. For the first time, we could test what we were truly capable of. The Rex quickly fell to our coordinated pack's attack, leaving him with absolutely nowhere to run. We suspected that this Rex had a friend with him, but couldn't find any trace of him after the battle. This friend, however, would be filling our stomachs and fueling the next part of our journey. We traveled east along the cove shorelines and found ourselves in the southern bush plains near the coast where we were born, a far cry different from when we were once here before. We were peeking over our sub-adult stage and nearing our prime goals when a relentless storm broke out over us. We were marching along smelling for carcass and looking for another meal, when we noticed that one of our own members were giving off the megapack smell when they separated too far from us. This alerted us that we weren't alone. Something was among us, stalking or hiding from us, among the darkness and the bushes. We moved slowly and cautiously, hyper alert to every single change in our environment now, analyzing the very silhouettes of the bushes that surrounded us, looking for something, anything, out of the ordinary. Then we noticed it. A bush that's base silhouette was just a bit too square to be natural. But we rushed that bush and started attacking when the cries of a young Rex roared out. All of our suspicions were confirmed, and we had another meal to provide for our family.
I don't think we're escaping the accusations with that one.
That Rex got us through the storm, but our stomachs were still growling for food. With the sun finally shining overhead, we were scavenging for anything we could find, snacking on tacos and chicken nuggets until a pair of fast food passed by. We began the chase immediately, but before we could even really begin, we ran headfirst into a young Maya and changed targets. We had no idea that young Maya was already running for its life, but we were hungry and didn't care whose meal we were eating. We stood guard while our packmate finished the kill, squaring up and letting the Rex know he wasn't welcome here. But unfortunately for him, this Maya wasn't going to be enough to fill us. With Dire K finally closing in, we started to move into position, getting us around on the Rex and giving him absolutely nowhere to escape to. At this point, the Rex was bleeding bad. Fear was clouding his mind and his perception of time began to warp. We had landed multiple lethal lashes. If he didn't do something soon, he wouldn't be able to do anything at all. We finally broke out of our siege when we performed a bush dodge, and he just kept sprinting forward. We think he finally realized just how much trouble he was really in. But by now, it was far too late. He had nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. We were hot on his trail, tracking both his blood and his tracks, with a solid line of sight. He was finally forced to sit or die. Probably had the traumatic thrombosis mutation. But there would be no mercy today. Our stomachs were growling, and our time was running out. The server was going to be restarting soon. We ate like kings one final time, filling the entire family's nutrients and stomachs to the brim on our biggest kill yet. And then quickly went to sleep and safe logged out, securing our futures for when we logged back in. But life happens, and we wouldn't be able to reconnect with our pack in a timely manner. A week or so would pass before we would try to log in again. And when we did, our Allosaurus no longer existed, wiped from existence on an official server. We had an absolute blast playing the Allosaurus, overcoming the many challenges that faced us, and ultimately having our experience cut short just before we reached our prime state. Thank you so much for watching and giving us your time. If you've made it to this part of the video, we would greatly appreciate it if you could hit the like button and subscribe to be part of our next incredible story. Until next time, friends, take it easy.